Yes, guys, going on? Welcome back. It is episode number 23 of Career Mode. What a brilliant win that was away at St James's Park. I literally just loaded the game and I've already lost connection to the EA servers. Wow, that's embarrassing. We're returning today. We've got some great stuff coming today as well. We're going to get to the halfway stage of the season right now in the top four and only 4 behind the league leaders, Manchester City. Massive games in the Premier League. We've got the FA Cup third round against Charlton Athletic at the Valley, and the January window is going to open where I think we're going to make a signing or two on the back of what will be Enzo Lafay's sale to Brentford. So yeah, lots to get through today. We'll jump into our first game. It's a massive one as well. Liverpool at home just knocks out the Carabao Cup, but right now we have a near identical record with the Reds heading into this one here, where a win could move us into second place and only 1 point behind the league leaders. Massive game to kick today's episode off. Liverpool at the Stadium of Light. Looking for our revenge here on the back of that knockout in the Carabao Cup. Liverpool, when you look at their team right now, it's incredible, but it shows you that this save is going to have a lot of parity in it, because again, first season, good save, Roofs early. First season it was, that's risky. Come on, we all like the fancy play out from the back, looking cool when it comes off, but come on mate, on FC 26 it don't work like that now. What was I saying? Yeah, season 1, champions Chelsea. Season 2, champions Arsenal. This year, it's Man City who are top, but Chelsea are up behind, then Liverpool, then us. I think it's going to be another winner for the third straight year. I'm loving the parity. Loving the parity in this save, man. No dominant team so far. Oh, that's a wonderful ball out wide to Fatawu. And Abdul steps inside, as he loves to do, and puts it just over the bar. And I think Florian Wirtz got a nick on that ball there, as it deflected behind for a corner. It did indeed. An excellent start here between two informed teams going at each other in a repeat of that League Cup quarter-final. Great game incoming here, I can already feel it. Well, for two teams with virtually identical records in the Premier League right now, it's not a surprise it ends as a draw. Goalless at the Stadium of Light, but a decent point there against a very strong Liverpool side. I'll take it. And I did manage to get Lafay on for his final few games as well. You might notice this year I've played Burrows a bit more than Double G. I like Goodmanson, don't get me wrong. But I think to me I'm preferring Burrows just a little bit more. Even though Gabriel, of course, does have the slightly... Does he have slightly better? Very slightly better average rating. But yeah, I'm going with Burrows a bit more now. I might actually sell Gabriel in January, because I only need the one. And of course, we're keeping our tabs on Anthony is out on loan right now anyway. But anyway, speaking of the January transfer window, we are just about to enter it. And that is going to be the end of Enzo Lafay off to Brentford for £18 million. And so heading into the window... Well, as we know, because the injuries just aren't happening despite the sliders being over 90, we don't need to worry about depth, but I would still like to bring in a replacement for him through the middle of the park. We do like Dan Neil, but he's really only here, not to make up the numbers per se, but here is a squad player at best. I want someone who can compete with Sadiq Diarra and Wharton for a starting role. 73 million in the budget, and I'm pretty sure we'll spend some of that today. Right, free scouting update, see what we got. From Japan, we shall keep scouting these three, and from Bolivia, you might wonder why I'm not putting in a couple of players who look really, really good. The reason being is because now, as we mentioned before, players don't get poached away by other clubs, so you might as well just keep in the scouting pool for as long as you want. They're not going anywhere. Yeah, I don't know whether I like that change or not from EA, really. I mean, it's good in the sense that, Robin Larson, is that the Seb Larson son? I don't know. Oh, he's not going to make it with that potential anyway. Like I said, no nepotism here. No nepotism here. Not on this channel. But yeah, I don't know if I like that change or not from EA, because it makes it, there's no fear now. There's no fear that you look at a player and think, should I gamble? Should I not? Because it's like, well, you don't need to. Like, you can literally leave them in there for as long as you want. They're not going anywhere until the mission ends. Anyway, no one making it. So no one has made it yet from Japan, Bolivia, or Sweden. But there's always next month. There's still plenty of time to go. Right, following game, jumping into it. Struggling West Ham, only just above the bottom three. Draw there against Liverpool. Starting to slip a little bit after what have been an amazing run. Now outside the top four. Still unbeaten in the Premier League on this run. But outside of Champions League places, and considering how tight it is right now, we really need a winning run to cement our place in the top four. Next up, West Ham. Oh, and I do not like this rain at all. I cannot stand this weather. Cannot stand her. It's so hard to play good football when the turf is soggy like this, but we have got ourselves an opening chance here and didn't take it through. Habib Diarra puts it wide. Still goalless for now. the weather effects, I have mentioned before, last year I turned them off after a couple of months. I just wasn't getting on with them and I thought they were a bit exaggerated. But for FC26, I'm going to persist with them. But to me, I think with V8, I would just like them to tone them down slightly, you know. I think they're just a little too OP, I guess, if you will. Because it's somewhat realistic, but I think it's just a bit too strong. For Premier League pitches as well, I'd say a little too strong. So second half underway on this soggy turf as JWP finds Francolino. And Lopez finds space and drills it past Roofs for the opening goal. West Ham struggling down the bottom of the table. Sunderland just outside the top four. These are the games. If we want to be a Champions League team, we cannot afford to drop points in, man. Just got a brilliant win away against Newcastle on Christmas Day. A very credible clean sheet and draw against Liverpool 3 days later. But this is the game where we should not be dropping points. And as things stand, we won't even claim one. There's Bobby, slice through Tally. It should be an instant leveller, and it is. Lovely football, lovely finish, right back on level terms. Let it go. It's fine. Let's make a sub. Let's bring someone on. I'm going to bring on... You know what, Brobby, as we say, is a really inconsistent striker. I'm going to give Promise to go for the final 27, man. He got the late winner against Manchester United. Let's see if he can go and do it again. That height makes him a bit of a wild card when things aren't really working the way we like in this game, struggling to play good football. Let's try something different. As we have mentioned before, sometimes when things aren't working, you've got to go with a different strategy. And it wasn't Promise, but it was Talby. Let's try and cross it for the final 24. Shirky looking for a bit of space. Paquetá rolls it through. Oh, there's a winner in this with 20 to play, definitely. Rayan looking for a bit of space, finds Lucas Paquetá. Tackled by Siddiqui. West Ham committing a lot of bodies forward for that attack there, and that means that Promise, who can hold it up, pops that wide. David, yes, come on! He's done it again! Both his Premier League goals, late winners, and Promise David has once again stolen 2 extra points for Sunderland at the death. If we do make the Champions League, we might look at those 4 points he single-handedly picked up for us and said that's why we are into prime time. Brought him on for Brobby, smacks it in top bins. Sunderland have won it right at the end. Not for the first time this season, not for the first time, because of the big man. Promise David is reminding me of a striker that I used many years ago, 12 years ago in fact. And I reckon some of you out there will know who I'm referring to here. But it is of course the why can I ask this question, by the way? How is Graham Potter not under any pressure at all, it appears, at West Ham? How is he still safe at the manager market of all the bizarre changes we've seen so far? Arsenal sacking Arteta when they were top, Liverpool pulling the plug on Slot early. How is Graham Potter still in charge of West Ham? Oh, and speaking of realism, finally, but of all the clubs to put the bid in, well, maybe not as realistic as I first thought. Well, we've been talking since this since the end of season 1. How is Balde still at Crystal Palace in the Championship? Well, he won't be for much longer, but he's going to the Bernabeu. It took a long time, but finally, because we're still waiting for the bids for I'm anticipating it today. I'm anticipating at least one bid for a Wharton or a Diarra. But for now, we wait. Anyway, we won't be waiting for this, so jumping straight into it. Following game, massive one on the back of that big late win there against West Ham. And it's these guys once again. Yep, the Magpies just beat them 4-2 in their own backyard. I think we've beaten them 3 times in a row now. Let's make it 4 on the trot and complete the season sweep this season. It's Newcastle United coming to the stadium light. They're mid-table right now, but we are back in the top 4 and only 4 points off the leaders, Chelsea. Another big win here, please, and we'll jump into 3rd place. Following game, Newcastle comes to the stadium light in a tyne weird derby once again. Watson clips it through. Robbie, early opener, brilliant finish. Oh, was he offside? What? No way was he offside there. Surely he was on. What? Surely that centre half didn't start. Oh, it's tight. It's tight. No, he's off. It's off. Why am I... Why am I even, like, surprised? It's a video game. Of course it's going to be 100% accurate. He looked on initially, but why am I ever surprised when an offside decision is given? Of course it's going to be correct. How have I not learnt yet that offsides will always be 100% accurate? Like, seriously. Fair enough, with some fouls or booking / red cards / non-cards, they can be debatable, but... offsides are not, Noxy boy. Like, it's not possible. It's a video game, son. It's always going to be right. As Voltamade finds his man, rolled through to Matthias Cagney. We haven't lost to Newcastle at the Stadium of Light yet. He's tempting fate by saying that though, isn't he? What a finish that is, right in the top corner, Magpies in front. And I must say, since the base game, we've obviously adjusted the sliders a little bit. And I think the one thing that's really helped with the scoring is reducing the shot error. Because now, a lot of the strikes are going right into the top corner. And even when they're not, hit with a bit more power by increasing the shot speed as well. If you're struggling to get the AI to score this year against you because of the passivity, the passiveness of their play, up the shot speed and reduce the shot error, you'll see a few more goals. Not unrealistically so, but a few more. Hang on, have we lost to Newcastle in the save yet? Have we lost to them? Season 1? Away at St James's? I think we drew, didn't I don't think we've lost to Newcastle yet. Well, 7 to play, and as things stand, we will for the first time here. I have to look back through the footage. Did we lose at St James's? Oh no, I think we did actually. I think we did. But as Cagney finds a bit of space, well, if we haven't yet, we probably will tonight. Big German with the second. Voltamade makes it 2. I've had a shocker of a first half. I'll have to re-watch the footage, but I'm pretty sure we lost to Newcastle in Season 1. And we're definitely going to lose to them in Season 3 at home. We haven't lost them at Stadium of Light yet. We definitely will tonight. Goodness gracious, there are going to be a lot of boos as we walk down this tunnel. 3-0 down, 45 minutes in. That's why Eddie Howe's bought him in real life. The big German heading in once again. Such an aerial threat at his height with his strength and his positional sense as well. There are a lot of question marks when the big money move was made, but honestly, I rate him. I think he's a really, really good young player, and his prime is still way ahead of him as well. Yes, I understand the fee is a lot for one player that just had one decent season, but in the modern game, I understand it. And tonight he's been almost brilliant and well justifying that price tag. Looking like a bargain out there. Yeah, the guy's 23, you know, he's such a young forward. And he's got all of his prime ahead of him as well. Signing a long-term deal. I rate him. I think he's a really, really good young striker, man. And he's had a decent start to life at St James as well. Oh, Diarra, all the way, son, all the way. Oh, we needed that. We needed that. 3-1 is the epic comeback on. That is going to do it. It is going to be... Oh, what a touch. On the outside of the ball. Cross flick back in. Wonderful football. What a goal that is, man. Absolutely incredible. And, you know, we've been talking about the changes EA have made this year to the gameplay. And I mentioned it earlier about how sometimes the AI can be a little bit passive when passing the ball around and not really going at you. That goal right there proves exactly how it can still work brilliantly if they just have a bit more of attacking mindset. The passing was brilliant. They recycled the possession on the edge of the area, which is totally fine. Sideways passing, backwards passing, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it has to have an objective at the end of it and not just passed around aimlessly, with the only objective being increasing the pass accuracy and the possession stat. It does show it is possible. But it's what EA needs to look at. Just tone the assertiveness up a little bit, and you're still going to see great team goals like that with a little bit more frequency in terms of goals scored instead of just sideways passes all the way until losing possession. But that is a terrible loss. That's probably my loss of the save. That was awful. Yeah, that's my worst loss of the save. We had a couple of big thrashings against Arsenal, against Liverpool, but that is one to forget. Not just because it was at home, but against our big rivals, their first win at the Stadium Light, and say that is definitely one to forget. So, as we always say, from time to time, you are going to have a damaging defeat. That is just football, that is just life. But when it happens, you've got to learn those lessons from that loss, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, move on to the next endeavour, and get it right next time out. Let's do it here. FA Cup third round, Charlton Athletic away at the Valley. Come on, let's make the fourth round here. Yeah, we'll have that. And then his teammate, Watson, who I've not used too much. It's coming back from Brighton. Holds it, goes it back to Trey. And I've rested quite a lot of players for this game. I've still got a few starters out there, including Wharton. Let's see if we can find this breakthrough 20 minutes in. In games like this, I know it sounds really obvious, but you just want that first goal as soon as you can get it. As promised, almost provided it. But Kaminsky tips it over the bar. The earlier you get that goal, the more pressure relieving it is, if that makes sense. So I know it sounds like a really obvious tip, but yeah, just get that opening goal. Once you've got it, the nerves just cleared so much. Passing to Trey. Can we get one late chance before the break here? On the break ourselves. Oh, look at that space for Talby. Acres of space. Steps in field and finishes as well. I have to say, I don't think they'll ever be as OP as they once were back in FIFA 14, FIFA 15. Do you remember back then, for those that played, when you went down the wing, if you did a Berber or McGeady spin, it was literally impossible to be stopped, whether you were playing human online or the AI themselves. It was literally automatic when it came down to cutting in. But I have noticed this year, it is quite OP. Maybe not as OP, I still do get stopped that way, but it is definitely one of the OP skill moves this year. There's always an OP skill move of some kind. I think this year, it's definitely the Berber spin. If you ever find yourself lost in 2014, you're playing Ultimate Team and you need a goal, just run down the wing with Kevin Morales. There's a throwback. And just Berber spin your way inside. It was not that difficult. Or the alternative is just whip the ball in with a cross, because there were players in the middle that always seem to win headers as well, including this man in FC 26. As promised, David makes it two. He's got the height, but to be fair, none of his goals have come through his head, to be fair. They've all come through his feet, and it's his first in the cup and his fourth of the campaign. 2-0, game over, into the fourth round, no problem. Who was that striker you'd literally run down the wing and cross the ball into? You'd have someone like Biarbiani on the wing or whatever, and you just whip the ball into the middle. Who am I thinking of here? Does anyone know? If you played FIFA 14, who was that striker that literally you just crossed the ball into with pace on the flank, and then they just won like almost every header? I can't remember, it was someone. But anyway, it is definitely game over here. 2-0 up in South London, and progress through to that fourth round. Again, we've looked really good in the FA Cup since the series began. Final in Season 1, quarter-final last season, and for this season, well, I don't know where we'll get there. We'll definitely be in the fourth round. Wonderful team goal. Goodmanson wraps it up. Game over. Put us in the fourth round already. We're there now. Speaking of wingers from that time, I mean, surely Gervinho is the one I should have mentioned. Everyone had Gervinho and Biarbiani as well. Classic players from back then. But anyway, as we do make it through pretty comfortably, all the ties are played on the same round, as we are going to see a free transfer there. Totally fine. He's been on the transfer list, I think, since the very beginning, so totally fine with that. Can't send him for a fee, but at least the wages will be ending at the end of the season. They're going to be anyway. But anyway, here we go. Fourth round. It's Wycombe Wanderers, Chairboys home. So again, another EFL side and a golden chance to reach the last 16. Again, brilliant FA Cup displays in Season 1 and Season 2. If we've got a chance this year once again of making Wembley. And I've just got a player conversation that I've missed. Alderete wants to leave due to a lack of game time. Totally fine with me, because of course he is our third choice centre half. We do need someone younger now. He's in his early to mid 30s. But I mentioned before, like, to me, this is what is causing your players to leave come the end of the season, or I should say during the season as well. Like, you don't get notified of that conversation there. Unless I went to see it manually, which I did, I wouldn't have been notified of that. So this is something that I want EA to work on as well. Why aren't you getting stopped anymore when your players request a transfer? At least you'll know about it. Like, you might not be able to stop it, but at least you'll know about it, so you're prepared for a replacement that's required. Right, let's try and squeeze in 2 or 3 more games today, following contest back in the Premier League on the back of that thrashing there to Newcastle United. Only 1 win in our last 3 in the league. Definitely need to get it sorted here if we are to stay in the top 4. Chelsea and Man City now 7 points clear. I'm not really thinking about being in a title race, but I definitely am thinking about the prospect of staying in the Champions League places. If we're going to do that, wins against teams that are right next to us in the table would be priceless. Next up, Manchester United. Massive game here. We always go on a poor run at some point in the second half of the season. So what I want to make sure is that when it happens, because it does, it's inevitable, it happened at some point, we've got a buffer in terms of points between us and the teams outside us in the top fours. Oh, what a save that is by Reece. Our next 4 fixtures are what you call definitely winnable. West Brom and Southampton in the bottom 3, then Leeds and Everton. If we can win this, possibly 15 points from a possible 15, extending the unbeaten run in the Premier League, or I should say restarting it on the back of that big thrashing at home to Newcastle. We'll have some separation, and that'll mean we've got a nice buffer in terms of points between us and the teams outside the top 4. A win today would be absolutely crucial. Sesko to Mbumo, and oh, the ex-Brentford man does brilliantly well. Shoots, blocked by Mukele in the face, and we shall get it away. Nice little Scott Sterling bit of improvisation there from Nordy. We'll take that. And the danger cleared. Yeah, haven't played very well in this game. To be fair, it's worth pointing out, only 1 loss, and I think our last 8 in the Premier League. It sounds great, but it's all about perspective. We failed to win this one. It'll only be 1 win in our last 4, and that was a very late, lucky win away against West Ham. 26 minutes to go, not been at our best. One of those where you might just need to grind out the point and take it. As that header by Brobby goes just over. Yeah, not a bad point that. I'll take it. I'll take it. Second goalless draw in 5. Not ideal, but again, just avoiding defeat against a team that's right next to us in the table. Not the worst result in the world, especially away from home. I'll take it. Decent point. And as my ender has just been loaned out. Well, we were waiting for it. We were waiting for it. And there it is. The big bid coming in from Manchester United. Habib Diarra, joint in assists last year. 44.1 million. They may not be in Europe this season, but they're still a far bigger club than us in terms of marketability. Do I wait for a club that's in the Champions League, or do I negotiate? Now, this is where I would like EA to have your players chat to you after an offer like that comes in. It's, oh, now it took a while, guys. Now he's starting to get the bids. Alderete wanted by West Ham, and I was going to set the bid straight off the bat, to be fair, as they're struggling down the bottom of the table right now, and he's not our first choice centre half. This is where I'd like to know what the player is thinking. I'd like to know what Habib is thinking. I'd like to know, is he saying, no, I'm gonna stay with Sunderland, man, we're building something here, or is he thinking, come on, you got, what's happened to that Alderete? What? Is that just fallen through? I know, it's gone through. It's gone through. It just it happened very quickly. He saw the chance to leave and he said, yeah, I'm out of there, man. I am out of there. So Alderete is gone. We didn't get any notification for it, but yeah, I'd like a player conversation. I would like Habib to come to me and say, Gaffer, you know, granted they're not in Europe, but it's a bigger club, you know, I'd like to go. But instead, there's no way of knowing what the player wants. There's no way of knowing what the player is thinking. And so really, we don't know what's going on with him. When you check on the player in the squad hub, you can see their morale and look where they are happy or unhappy. And at the moment, Habib is very happy here, apart from his contract, which I think he definitely deserves a new one because it's not really justifying his fantastic couple of seasons here at the Stadium of Light. But this is where I want EA to work on player intelligence, because if a bid comes in like this, it would be nice to have the player come to you and say, Gaffer, I'd like to leave. They're a bigger club in terms of marketability or whatever else. Or they'd come and say, do you know what? I'm happy here. I'd quite like to stay. So you get that in Football Manager. You don't get that in career mode. You just got to use your best kind of judgment, really. And I'm really 50-50 about this, but I think I'm going to negotiate. Man, it's such a difficult decision because you don't want to sell to a club that's right now competing with you for a European place, especially in January. But I guess the only thing I could do is do the same thing we do with Adam Wharton, which is, you know, give him a contract, but then add in the release clause. And I'm not against doing that with Diarra as well, because again, he does have a thumbs down on the contract, so he does want a new deal anyway. So I'm not against offering a new contract and... okay, alright, so in that case... You know what, in that case... When I said I was looking for a sign, I want to know what the player's thinking. If he doesn't want a new contract, I guess he wants to leave. Okay, alright, I think that is a sign. It's a bit annoying, because if the club was in a European competition, it would be a lot easier to make this decision, because, you know, we'd have to do it. But we're in the Conference League right now, Manchester United aren't. But again, they are a far bigger club than us in terms of global reputation and marketability. They're going to be back in Europe next season on this current form. I just wish it was like an AC Milan or something, so I wouldn't have to sell him to a division rival. But because he doesn't want to negotiate a contract, I think that probably tells you what you need to know, which is that he is ready to leave and take the next step. And I did say I was waiting for this. I needed this. We all needed this, man. We needed the big bids to come in for our big players. It hasn't happened yet. I can't have asked for this for all this time and then when it happens, turn it down. He's worth more than this though. Come on, joint an assist last year, only 24 years old. I think he's worth 60 mil in this current market. What? Come on, he's worth more than that. He's worth way more than that in this current market. Are you joking? I feel like rejecting this out of spite, man. Seriously, you're not even going to give me 50 million? Do you know what? I'm standing my ground. I'm standing my ground. Even at 55 million, I would say is a slight discount. He can clearly do it in this league. No problems with adaptability. And Unai finally sees sense. 55 mil for Diarra. I still think that's an undersale, but I guess the player is unhappy. I need to sell him. I'm going to do so. What I was planning to do there, if Unai didn't meet that 55 million, is then put Habib on the transfer list and just assume he was annoyed that I priced him out of a move. But he's going to get it. He's going to go to Old Trafford. He didn't want to stay. He didn't want to negotiate the contracts. That's the best way I can think, realistically. He was ready to jump ship. But before he does, hopefully a great game in his final game for the club. Southampton, at Sunderland, as go for a big return to winning ways after only one in our last four. How are the lads? It would have been quite cool if we would have had an unexpected event pop up there. That's where I would like it. That's where I'd like it if we had the unexpected event and the player comes to you and says, "Boss, I've heard rumours Manchester United are interested. Let me go," you know. But like I said, it's something that EA can work on in time. And the unexpected events is a great feature. But that's where you think of that moment there. Bit of intelligence from EA, you know. That's where you want to see it. Unexpected knock on the door in your manager's office, you know what I mean? Like it just really helped with the immersion and the realism. But yeah, I think because Diarra wouldn't negotiate a contract, that probably tells you what you need to know. You know, he said he's unhappy about it, but he's unhappy about it being here. So not with the salary, not with the length, but with the club he's currently with. He's ready to go, and I'm not going to stand in his way. And this Trey's going to find him. And he gets involved in the build-up for the open. Oh, no, he doesn't. Adingra, what a miss. Yeah, it's very difficult with transfer offers like that. Like, what's the realistic thing? What's the thing that would probably happen in real life there? And him going or staying, I'd say probably 50-50 at this point right now in the save. But it's a saying that I really like. It's something I kind of subscribe to the idea of, which is that you can't always get it right, but you can always try to. As Brobby fires what should have been the opener wide. And when it comes down to my transfers in career mode, guys, as I said before, it's not the realistic career mode. So there's an element of realism to the save, but it's not the primary goal. But I do try and keep it somewhat realistic. I can't always get that right. I can't always make the right decision in that regard. But I promise you I do always try to. And I guess he's finally Sunderland in front. No, we're not. Bar rattle is still 0-0. I can't always make decisions right. Maybe Diarra there would want to stay. Even despite turning down the contract negotiation, maybe he'd still see out the season. I don't know. I can't always get it right. But I promise you, I do always try. I think that contract negotiation or unwillingness to negotiate the contract is the reason why I've opted to sell him there. And I think it's, again, maybe the right call, maybe the wrong call. I can't always get it right, but I certainly do always try. That's Sadiq, well in son. As we're still deadlocked at 0-0 here. It's popped out. What a ball that is. Oh, for Tawu. Oh, go on. Across it goes. 1-0. And in his final game for the club, I don't think he'll be booed when he returns, man. Even leaving midway through the season to a division rival, I don't think so. Because he was joint in assists last year. He's been brilliant since this save began and really came on leaps and bounds since the beginning of last season. And how is he going to bow out in his final game in the stadium? Like doing what he does best, picking up the assist, rolls it across, easy tapping for Adingra, and after all the dominance in the first half, finally Sunderland in front. That is what we are going to miss when he's at Old Trafford. The creativity and the assists. So with that Diarra deal about to go through, I guess, guys, I'm going to need some comments from you guys today. Transfer targets, who are we going to replace Diarra with? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'll tell you what we could do. I'll give you a little bit of advice from the manager himself here. But I think maybe recall Chris Rigg. Recall Chris Rigg at one of you. Yes, he's a few ratings lower, but he's also a few years younger. And we know he is Sunderland's best academy prospect. Not against doing that. As Southampton are through here and have got the level. What a finish in off the post 1-1, and this will be a massive 2 points dropped. Well, that is not what we needed. A big slip up at home to relegation threatened Southampton as we continue to struggle for form in the Premier League with just one win in our last 4. And as Habib Diarra gets his big money move to Manchester United, Sunderland are now fully in the thick of a very uncertain storm. Pressure? Oh yeah, we are feeling it. But that will do it for today's episode of Career Mode. Massive thank you for watching. Really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day and don't miss the next episode. It is going to be massive. We'll have more big games in the league, aiming to keep hold of our top 4 place. The FA Cup 4th round at home to Wickham and the rest of the January window with over 130 million in the budget. Get those transfer targets in the comments. Who do we replace Diarra with 8 days to go? Have a brilliant day, guys. Much love to you all, and I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode. Don't miss it very soon.